we'll be showing you here is actually the kind of aid that we're using on the mobile event vehicle. And what happened was about a year and a half or so ago, we worked out a partnership with Starkey Foundation so that we can offer new aids at a wholesale cost. So we're able to purchase batches of 20 brand new hearing aids for $2,500 or $125 each. They're all identical. They're all behind the ear aids, Aries Pro. They include a case for the aids. There's little supplies, like I think it's, Melinda, there's more. There's like the little cleaning things and like little extra pieces. It comes with a warranty, and the warranty includes the aid being lost or broken or stolen. And after a year's period of time, the client is actually able to extend that warranty if they want to with their own funds, and then they can go and have it extend for another year or however long they want to extend that. So Roar mobile events and what that means to you and how to bring one to your community. The first thing that you would do is contact the amazing Melinda here at the Foundation office, and she can help you figure out what the next available date is and work with you and Dr. Landsberg to figure out the ideal date for him to bring the mobile RV in. And then what she'll also do is work with you to find a location for that RV. It's a little easier to do than our truck that we had for MHSP because it's obviously it's quite a bit smaller, but it's nice to have a location where it can park and it's easy for our clients to get to if they're on public transportation, where they're going to have parking. It's nice to have access. I think it was the Eugene event a couple of times was actually done in a local hotel parking lot, and then they also allowed him to do parts of the screening inside the hotel, so it was nice so people had access to restrooms and other types of things. I don't know if Melinda, if you wanted to say any more about the type of location.
Yeah, and it's nice because he doesn't need an electrical hookup, so it's self-sufficient on its own. But like Kareth said, it's nice if there's, you know, if it's easily accessible. And I think a parking lot works really well. I know in Roseburg they do it in the parking lot of the Roseburg Cancer Center, and so they work with them, and so clients are actually able to use the facilities and go inside of the center as well. So that's really very helpful.
And it helps weatherproof the event. You know, this type of year it's not too bad, but in winter or if it's pouring down rain, it's nice that if as clients arrive, if they have an extra spot they can go to so that they're not outdoors in the.
And there is a very small little waiting bench within his RV that you know the next client can sit and wait, but it does get crowded in there pretty quickly. So.
And then also just protecting the privacy of the people who are in there that he's working with, so that they feel like they can just have that conversation with him and not with, you know, anyone who's waiting. And so once you've worked out with Melinda where the RV can go and what the available date is, the next thing that will happen is you'll gather your applicants. So the people that you have on your wait list or that you've got ready to go, you'll get those applications together just like you do for any of the hearing programs, and you'll send them up to Melinda and let her know that that's what you're sending them up for, is to be part of that Roar mobile event. And one of the asides here is that the two events, that locations that we've been in, have all been multiple club events. So it's not just Eugene downtown, it's also
Cascade
and Bethel and Springfield. So it's multiple clubs coming together for one event. So maybe your club only has one or two applicants over a period of a few months. The way to bring the RV out would be we'll reach out to all the other clubs within your area, find that central location for the mobile RV, and then not only yourself, but members from those other clubs can participate as well and send applications up. And what Melinda does is she actually creates a spreadsheet that tells the start and end time of the event and schedules appointments so that each person has about, I think they have about a half hour apiece. So they're actually scheduled for a specific time where they can come in and they have their appointment and then the next person comes in. So they're not waiting for a long time and they're really able to get there, have their appointment, and leave. And that she negotiates that with all of you that are involved so that each of your clubs knows what time your people will be there. And then for the club, the cost for having a person go to the mobile RV and have their hearing test, their fitting, and all of that process that you would do with your local audiologist is $50 per person. So for each person you're going to have go to the event on the mobile RV, it would cost your club $50. And then for the participant, what they do is they actually cover, or what we recommend is that the participant covers the cost of the aid. So that's $125 for each aid. So if they see Dr. Todd and he says, oh, yep, you're going to need 2, then they would have $250 either in cash with them or the ability to go online and enter a credit card where, or, you know, how people could attach to their debit cards and so forth and go online and put that payment in. And we actually have a staff member that comes down. We just piloted that, and so we have a staff member that comes out and works with the participants to help them with that and gather all that and check them off and make sure that all the information is there. They also pay, they have $25 that they bring with them for Dr. Todd, and that's for his time and their visit with him to have the test and the fitting done. That's like their copay or fee. And then once they've seen him, when you bring the vehicle back to your area, if the person has questions, if the people have questions or they want to make an adjustment to their aids, they would be able to come back and see him again for another $25 visit fee. And that doesn't cost your club. We don't charge your club for that follow-up care. That's strictly the person and Dr. Todd. So there's a $25 fee there. So for most clubs, if you do a mobile event, one of the things that it means is it will save your club money per person, because for most of the clubs, when you go once, one person at a time to a local audiologist, you're probably paying somewhere between $125 to $300 or so for them to go in and have their test and have their fitting and that whole process. And then the aids are ordered and then they come back and then your person is fit. In this case, you're able to cut that cost down to the $50 and your person has their complete route of service all in that one event day. And there was another benefit that just jumped into my mind, Melinda, and now it jumped out just as quickly. I don't suppose you know what I was thinking.
Well, I think there's the benefit of just having multiple clients fit in one day. It's kind of nice to sort of alleviate your you know, the wait list that you have.
And I think what we found too, of some of the feedback that we've gotten is that the sight and hearing chairs, they're able to go and be there because it's a couple of hours maybe that they're there to be with their people if they want to be there. And they enjoy, I mean, they actually get to see their person that they're helping go onto this vehicle and then walk off with brand new hearing aids. And sometimes that can be a really emotional moment when the person's actually hearing again for the first time and they're really excited, and so you actually get to visually see the people that you're helping walk off with that service.
Yeah, I think just recently in Eugene we had a mobile health screening staff member, Don Brown, go and assist with processing the payments, and he just said it was incredible to see somebody's attitude completely change as soon as they were fit with their hearing aids. Just night and day to see how happy they were walking off with their aids. He said it was really priceless to be able to witness that. So
that's Aurora Mobile event and how to bring one to your area. And just as a side note, one of the things, the cost to participant for the aid, once in a while we do find a participant, and your club will find a participant that maybe they really just don't have. They may be homeless or there's something else going on where they really don't have that $125 per aid. You're more than welcome as a club to come up with that funding or find a local sponsor that can help them with that cost. They may have family or friends or someone that can help them. The feedback we've been getting is that for most of the applicants, it's the $2,500 or the $1,000 that they have to come up with to be able to get the hearing aids. That's the biggest problem for them. When we can get it down to this cost, it hasn't, they've mostly been able to say, oh, that's great.
Yes.
And in this case with the mobile event, it is a brand new aid, so it's something, it's really good quality and it's going to last them, and so far the feedback has been really great.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Eileen has a question. We have experience with Spanish speakers, and would a translator be able to fit in the van?
So as of now, we don't have that capability. But if a client did need somebody to translate for them, there's definitely room in the RV unit, and Dr. Landsberg would be more than happy to accommodate that and work with them. So if that's ever an issue, we can definitely have that happen. It'll just need to be the translator will need to be coordinated by the client themselves. Good question. Thanks, Eileen.
Very great question. And I did mention that the events so far have been in Eugene and Roseburg, but in talking with Dr. Landsberg, he's more than willing to travel farther. So he can come up to Portland, or he can go to Astoria or Tillamook, or he could go, east if we wanted him to go east or farther into District E. Those just coincidentally happen to be the two areas of the district that have been contacting us most and been interested in those mobile events. And I know that we've had some recent interest from Milwaukee and a couple of the other clubs in District O. District E, not so much yet, or not District E, District G, they have another situation that's working for them pretty well right now. But if your club is interested and you want to see if some of the other clubs in your area might be interested, just let Melinda know, and we'll reach out and make those contacts and see what we can put together for you. So I think, unless you have another Roar mobile event question?
Yeah. Eileen's also wondering how many clients are needed to get the van to their area.
I think it depends. I would say if it's not too far away from Dr. Landsberg, maybe at least 6 to 8 if it's not, a very long distance. But if he's going to travel a little further, it would be nice to have a full schedule for him, just to make it worth the while. About 12 people is a really good full schedule. He could even see a few more or a few less, but yeah, between the clubs, it's nice if we can have about 10 to 12 people on the schedule.
All right, so that's going to take us into Roar for individuals. So Melinda, I'll let you take this one.
Okay, so we've been really wanting to offer the Starkey aids outside of the Roar Mobile, as Kareth has cleverly named it. So we've got a few audiologists that are working with the Starkey aids. Right now, Pacific Northwest Audiology in Bend is working with the Starkey aids. Gateway Hearing, located here in Portland, and Central Oregon Hearing Specialist, which I believe is located in Illinois, Oregon, for the Illinois Valley Lions Club. And so those are the 3 audiologists that have been working with the Starkey aids. And there are a few more that are about to come on board. I know in Albany, I've been working with Robert Springer in Albany, and they work with Sound Audiology. So what we need to do to have access for the Starkey aids is you'll find that different audiologists have preferences and access to different software and hearing aids. So there are some audiologists that you will find that do not work with Starkey software. They do not work with Starkey aids. They have other preferences. So in that case, perhaps maybe using our refurbished hearing aids would be the better bet. But if they have access to the Starkey software and they're willing to use these aids, then we're going to be sending out kind of a new updated application that has Starkey aid information listed on the back on the second sheet, so that you're able to indicate whether or not the client is going to use Starkey aids versus refurbished aids. So it's something that we can see right there on the application. So the applicants are going to have to pay for their aids as of now. There's no designated funding for the next fiscal year for the hearing aid program. So that being said, the applicants will cover the hearing aids, which is $125 per hearing aid, plus a $25 indirect cost of the program. So it's a flat rate fee of $150 per person to have the Starkey aids. And this is also for the refurbished aids, which we'll see a little bit in the next slide. To be able to do this, so you would arrange to test the program with me or with Kareth. So then you'll set up that audiologist partnership with the Starkey aids. I have information that you can give to the audiologist that is that spec sheet that shows them what kind of aids they're going to be using, and I'm more than willing to have an open dialogue with the audiologist and kind of see what they need. We've got some different some components that they might need. We have programming cables and slim tubes, and we have a BTE fitting kit. So it just really depends on what the audiologist has and what they need, and I'm more than willing to work with them for that. Then we just process the applicant just like you would with other hearing programs through the foundation. Then the audiologist is going to order those aids through the foundation. So what's been happening, so for example with Pacific Northwest Audiology in Bend, they send me that second sheet of the application and let me know, okay, they need 2 aids. I say, that's great. I go ahead and we invoice the client for those aids, and that's the $150 flat rate fee for each aid. Then once I receive the payment from the client, then we go ahead and ship the aids to the audiologist. And then once they receive it, they fit the client with the Starkey aids. We can go on to this next slide because it's very similar. It's just what we're going to be doing going forward in this next. It's going to be very similar to what we're doing with the Starkey aids. Kareth, do you want to chat about that?
Yeah, so RGS Acoustics, this and Vancouver Hearing Aid Center, this is our traditional hearing aid program that we've been working with, which we've referred to as the Hearing Aid Bank. This is our refurbished hearing aid program where all those hearing aids that are collected by Lions Clubs from all over the state are actually, they are sorted out and then they're sent up here to RGS Acoustics in Vancouver, Washington. And Ron Schauer and his crew, they go through those and they check to see what software they use, how they're working, if they need cleaned, anything else that needs to happen to them. And then they have just rows of, we just recently went on a tour and it's really neat. They have bins for all the different kinds of aids and all the pieces and components and things that we send to them. They give us credit for what we send them that's usable, which goes back to help the program. And then what they do is, as audiologists send them information about a client and the hearing loss that the client has, they take the components that will best work for that client and they refurbish and make a new shelf for that ear, whatever they need to do to make that those hearing aids ready to go for that client, and then they send it out for fitting. So for the way the program has worked is it's a partnership between the clubs and us. So that's the area that's changing is our partnership historically has been that we've always, not always, but we've always tried to have room in our budget so that there's funds available from the foundation office to actually pay for the aid itself, so that when the club pays the local audiologist, then the foundation actually covers the cost of the aid, a warranty, shipping, that sort of thing. Well, this coming year, we just don't have those kinds of funds available. So what we're going to do is still keep the program open, still keep it accessible, still work with you pretty much the same way that we always have, with the difference being that just like with the new aids, when you've sent a client, you've had a client approved and they go to your local audiologist and the audiologist says, yep, they need 2 refurbished aids, what's going to happen is they're going to go ahead and send that information to RGS like they always have, but instead of RGS going ahead and making that aid and sending us an invoice, what they're going to do is they're going to let us know, and we're going to actually send an invoice to the client letting them know, you know, you're getting 2 aids, so that's going to be $150 a piece, so that's $300. And then as soon as the client has paid that fee, we'll let RGS know. They'll go ahead and send those refurbished aids to the client, and then the process will continue as it always has. one of the neat things about this, it's been really, working with the Starkey aids, one of my favorite things about it has been Melinda and I, particularly Melinda, but both of us have learned a lot about hearing loss and what the difference is between those refurbished aids and the new aids, and what the how one may benefit the client versus another. And what we've discovered is it's not always newer is best. It really depends on the aid. And for the aids that we have available to us, either through Starkey or from these rebuilt aids, every person's hearing loss is kind of unique, and depending on the kind of loss that they have, it may be that those new Starkey aids are the best way to go, and it may be that that's not the case. It may be that those rebuilt aids will actually, that there's a rebuilt one available that will better fit the person's hearing loss and do more for them for what they need than those new aids.
Well, and I think that what we found is that so the Starkey aids work really well for someone who has just a typical age-related hearing loss. It works very well for somebody who has that type of hearing loss, where sometimes you know, an audiologist will see somebody who has a very specific type of hearing loss, and in that circumstance it's really great that they're able to dip into the aids that are kept at RJS Acoustics, because not all of those aids are old. Some of them are pretty much brand new that have been unfortunately given to the foundation for whatever reason, and so they're able to be turned around and used for somebody who so dearly needs them. And so it's really great that they have access to a really large selection of different various aids that work towards different various, you know, hearing losses.
And the other thing about the refurbished ones is the Starkey aids are all behind the ear, whereas the refurbished ones are in the ear, behind the ear. There's different things that they can do depending on the client need.
Yeah.
So Max, who is the audiologist at at Gateway Hearing, he's actually the one who's been teaching us kind of quite a bit about it, and he was describing that to us. And what we piloted with him, what he brought up to us and asked about, and then we tried out, was where he sees the Lions Club's patients, and then he kind of, when he's finished meeting with them and has figured out what kind of hearing loss they have and what the client's need is, then he kind of makes that call of like, you know what, those new aids are going to be great for you, or you know what, the refurbished ones are a better way to go for you. And so it's any of you, whoever your audiologist is, if they're willing to work with both programs, it gives you that little extra for your client, where your audiologist can kind of decide which of those two types of aids is going to be better for your client. The price is the same either way, so the client doesn't pay more for one or less for the other. They're going to pay the same amount either way, and you're going to pay the same amount to your provider for the test and the fitting. The difference is just which product works better for the client.
Absolutely.
So the process is going to happen just like it has with the other aids, or like it has been, where you send that application to us, and then Melinda approves it, she sends it through, it goes to RJS, they notify us that they got that order, we invoice the client pays the invoice, and then we let RJS Acoustics know that's there, and they'll ship that aid off to your local audiologist, and your client will be fit with their refurbished aids.
Yeah, so the only difference is that there's going to be just a little bit more time in between the client getting their aids, because we know that when we invoice the client for the cost of the aids, it sometimes can take them a little longer to, you know, to send in their payment. And I'm going to try to help, you know, by calling clients, and maybe Lions Clubs can help as well, just to see if they need any extra help making that payment, which means, do you need to help them go onto the website, you know, and enter in the information, or if they feel comfortable enough, they could even give you their credit card information to enter in on the website. It's up to the client. It's whatever can help them kind of make that payment. There's also some clients are very comfortable, mostly comfortable using checks, and so we can also accept checks as well. So it'll just be up to the client what's easiest for them to make the payment for their aids, and we'll try to make it go as quick as possible and help the client along so that they can get their aids quickly.
And as we're all, as sight and hearing chairs, and as our foundation offices, we're getting used to this new piece of the puzzle here, one of the things that will help is the more your client knows ahead of time that that's the expectation, and knows that, you know, hey, if I go through this process, I'm gonna need this much funding, then once you've approved it and sent it to Melinda, and that hopefully by the time they go to get their test, they've got it ready to go. So then there won't be much of a delay, because especially if they can pay online, because if they meet with their audiologist in the local area and the audiologist says, yep, you're going to need 2 aids, the client's going to know, oh, that means I'm going to have to pay this much. They could even give us a call and we can walk them through doing a payment.
Yep.
So that there's not a delay. We can email them their invoice. There's all kinds of things we can do that can help take out the delay in that middle piece. And we recognize this is new for you. It's going to be new for us. It's a little bit different way of talking with individuals. The feedback that we've received so far, again, has been really positive, whether it's refurbished or brand new, that for most clients, they are just really interested in something that is more accessible to them, and this is very accessible for them versus having to pay the full price.
Yeah, absolutely. And even I know that Gateway Hearing, which is, by the way, it's located here in Portland, they actually, Max has said that he's willing to go ahead and go online with the client there at, you know, at his office and help them make the payment for the aids then. So that's even an option too. I know some of you have really incredibly close relationships with your providers, and so they may be willing to help with that as well, and that would really just make it go so much quicker.
And we can help you, and by we, I mostly mean Melinda, because she's kind of the wonder for this program, but she is really great at helping you speak with your audiologist and really willing to help with those kinds of any questions they may have, or walking them through the process, helping talk them through like what may work best. And, you know, if you try something and it doesn't seem to be working, then, you know, give us a call, have them give us a call, and we'll figure out what's the glitch, where's the problem coming up, and let's figure out a way around it and a solution for it.
Yeah, and that brings me to another great point. I always want your feedback. For any time we change, or any time the program is even consistent, I want your feedback to let us know what we can do better, and feedback you're hearing from the clients and feedback you're hearing from your providers. Always very much welcomed. So the next thing we wanted to tell you, we've just got this last slide before we ask for questions. So these are some of the plans that we have to partner with you, and also, you know, help your club partner with the community. We are in the process of, actually Nicole here at the foundation is our fabulous grant writer, and she submitted a grant to Lions Club International Foundation for funding for hearing programs here at the foundation, and we should hear about that in August. That being said, there is a chance that if we do receive the funding that we've asked for, that we won't necessarily have to make the clients pay for the aids, but they will still pay that service fee, which would be the $25 per aid service fee. Just because we found with other programs that I guess there's that phrase, you put a little skin into it. If you put something into what you're getting, you're more likely to take better care of it. Plus, another benefit is that it will help, you know, help that program to continue. It'll help pay, sustain it. So it's a sustainable way. Thank you. So that's on the docket. We should know in about August. So we'll keep you guys updated, because we're very excited and eager about that. We also, Kara, do you want to talk about events and community access?
Sure. So we're working, one of our goals for this coming year is just to get, to really work on those community events that Lions Clubs do. Our school events are just absolutely amazing, and now just a few different things have happened. We've started working with some other vision groups that do things like medical exams and things like that, and doing community events. We're starting to kind of experiment a little bit with doing events like in the evening at a local school, where the families come in, and maybe the clubs, you know, the clubs are there and they work with the families, and we can do more group things like that, and just different ways of partnering and having more more exams, more different kinds of things, more complete service that we can offer in partnership not only with the clubs but with other areas. We're loving, some of you have let us know that having those new Starkey aids available may help with making partnerships with audiologists that struggled to use the refurbished aids, or for whatever reason just weren't able to participate before. So we would love to help you look back into finding an audiologist in your area if you don't currently have one. We can help you connect with other clubs in your area to see who they're using and how that's going. And we're always looking for ways to fundraise to help offset the individual's costs or club costs. We've gotten local grants before. The Bend area is using one right now where there was a grant given specifically to their area for hearing aids, which helped offset costs there. So, let us know if you've got a local business or organization, or maybe a local family or foundation or something that you think, like, if the foundation reached out to them and specifically about, hey, let's bring we're going to come into your community and we want to serve 10 people with brand new hearing aids. Do you have $2,500 that you could donate to that? There's a lot of ways that we can help make this accessible for you and help stretch our dollars, stretch your dollars, and help your community have access to these programs.
Yeah, and I mean, you could reach out to a local bank, you could reach out to a local grocery store, somebody who's, there's a business that's prominent in your community. You could reach out and say, are you interested in sponsoring an event that could help, people in the community receive hearing services? And if you wanted to kind of give us an idea of who might be good to reach out to, I know Nicole would be more than willing to help with that and to apply for any family foundation grants, anything like that. You guys are in the community, so we really need your help in kind of highlighting, where we can look for funding to help your club and your community. I think it's also a really great way building those ties. The more things you do in your community, as you guys all know, the more light it brings to Lions and to what they do, and hopefully will add to membership, which is always, a very big goal in anything that we do to kind of strengthen the Lions clubs. So our last slide is questions.
I have questions.
Okay.
All right. What questions do we have?
Eileen asked, how do clients get screened before they get to the van appointment? The reason I ask is because we do a dental van here and notify clients, and they tell us if we have pain.
So we don't actually have a pre-screening specific that the foundation has. There's always our community vehicle, of course. If the community vehicle goes out and was to do through MHSP, someone got a hearing screening, they would have an idea of that there was a problem there. Beyond that, a lot of times that's where we really rely on our sight and hearing chairs to let us know, did the person, what makes them think that they have that hearing loss. A lot of that comes down to just you as a sight and hearing chair kind of evaluating, is this someone who needs a screening, or is this someone who, yeah, it's pretty obvious this person, needs a hearing aid. We get a lot of clients who have had them before and just haven't been able to get one in years. Or Melinda?
Well, and I know that I've heard from, so far with the mobile, the Roar-Mobile, everybody who's come on to the RV who thinks they need a hearing aid has needed a hearing aid. But that being said, there are some times that providers, audiologists say that somebody comes in and they actually just had a buildup of wax, and they didn't have significant hearing loss. They just needed that wax to be cleared out, which can be done with their I think their
Local, whoever their
or
local
their
provider is.
I think it's their primary care physician. Yeah. So that is something that might happen. But that being said, pretty much everybody, and actually everybody who's come onto the RV knows they have significant hearing loss, has either worn hearing aids before or just knows, yes, this is more than a wax buildup. I have hearing loss. So
her other question is, so for hearing aids, if they have not been screened, just self-diagnosed, what do we do? So I think,
It's just
yeah.
Yeah, so I think hopefully we're answering your question, Eileen. So yeah, so if most of the time I think yeah, okay, got it. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And Kate Adams says, we currently pay P&A $200 per client for the exam and services. Will that cost to the Crooked River Ranch Lions continue?
So that's a partnership with you and the audiologist, Kate. So that shouldn't alter whatsoever. The only difference is that the client will need to have the funds to pay for their aids. So instead of, but actually you were in Crooked River, I think that's still covered.
If they're using Pacific Northwest Audiology,
That's still
the client's
covered.
fee is under that grant.
And so we will exhaust that grant eventually, and then we will ask that your community, that the Lions Club, you'll have to reach out to the clients because they will have to pay for their aids. But as of now, Kate, if you use Pacific Northwest Audiology, those aids are covered.
Okay.
We have other questions out there, Allison?
Yes. Robert Springer is asking, if we are set with a hearing specialist and the applicant has agreed to pay the fees, can we fast lane and get the application approved and the fittings going, given we will not know if they're new or refurbished until they are seen?
Yes, I think that Robert, you and I have been chatting about this, and I'm eager to to get that going with Sound Hearing. So yeah, I think we'll go ahead and process it, and I've spoken to RJS, and so they're ready to start receiving applications if it's refurbished, and we're ready here at the foundation to receive applications for Starkey. So if your client, and it sounded like when I spoke to you that your client is willing to pay that fee, and that's a $150 flat rate fee per aid, then we can go ahead and invoice them once we know how many aids they need, and that we should work it out. That'll be great to kind of work with you because you'll kind of be my first kind of pilot of this. So that'll be nice to work with you.
And that's the situation, Robert, where if your client knows ahead of time about that amount, then as soon as they've met with that provider, they can contact Melinda here at the office or let you know, and you could reach out to Melinda. She could email the invoice over and or get it in the system so that the client could go on that night or the next day, depending, there's what else everyone has going on, but theoretically they could go in that night and log in, go to our website and hit donate today and be able to put their information in and pay for those aids so that we can get the order going.
Yeah, and when folks are making their donation, there should be a memo box that they'll be able to say, hearing aids, paying for hearing aids.
And then Eileen is wondering, is there a new application form?
Yes, so I'm going to send out a new application form. We're redoing the sight and hearing packet, just updating it for this next fiscal year. So it will be included in the packet, which will be sent out in the first couple of weeks of July. And I can also send that out to anybody who requests it. I can send it out to you immediately. We're also going to be sending out information to the sight and hearing chairs about this kind of change where the clients are going to be paying for their aids while we don't have funding secured. So we can attach the hearing aid with that when we send it out to everyone.
Which is a nice segue into, it's that time of year again. So if you know that you're staying on a sight and hearing chair, or if you're a new sight and hearing chair for your club, if you could email Melinda or Kareth and let us know so that we make sure we have the most updated information for your club and make sure that you continue to receive the information, that would be handy.
Robert said.
Okay, any more questions, Allison?
Not as of right now.
If you think of more questions after the webinar ends, just go ahead and reach out to myself or Melinda. If you reach out to me, I'll probably say, hey, Melinda, but either one of us, reach out to us, let us know what your questions are, and if think about it over the next few days and things come up, just let us know.
I do have, and I wanted to let you guys know that I do have some pending applications for July and August, and so I'm going to be chatting with whoever has pending applications for those months, because we'll need to chat about the funding not being quite available for those folks, and so I'll be chatting with you guys directly if you've submitted any applications and are in my queue. So you'll be hearing from me either today, well, today. All right. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.